Hi team, welcome back to our Introduction to Ancient Rome Anchor series of printables and mini lessons. In this series, we are learning about some of the most important events that explain the rise and fall of the most important republic and empire of the ancient world, Rome. Now, sadly, we must turn to the decline of the republic and the rise of the empire. If that sounds a little bit like the story of Star Wars, well, now you know where they got the idea. Rome, the greatest republic of the ancient world, began its transformation into an empire during the Punic Wars from 264 to 146 BC. There aren't any Sith or Jedi Knights involved, but there are great battles as well as great heroes and villains, and it's not obvious that Rome was the good guy. One thing is for sure, by fighting the Punic Wars, Rome went from being a republic to being an empire, even though it never officially got a name change. Let's talk about the name Punic Wars, first of all. It can be a little confusing. The enemy of Rome in this war was known as Carthage. Carthage began as a city-state in northern Africa. We learned about city-states in our Anchor Facts series on ancient Greece. A city-state is a city and its surrounding countryside that acts like a country all by itself. Carthage was also a colony, which means it was a place that people from somewhere else had moved to in order to bring it under the control of their home country. Where were the Carthaginians from? They were from Phoenicia, which means over here, on the other side of the Mediterranean. In Latin, the language of the Romans, the Carthaginians, who were originally Phoenicians, were known as Punici, which is where the wars get their name. The war got started because both Rome and Carthage wanted to rule the island of Sicily, the jagged triangular island that looks like the boot of Italy is kicking it. When Rome won that first war and took over Sicily, they made it into the first Roman province. This meant that the citizens living there would not become Roman citizens, as the other people of Italy had been allowed to do after they were conquered. They were considered foreigners and not worthy of being citizens. Also, many were enslaved, as was normal in the ancient world. The First Punic War is the beginning of rampant slavery in the Roman Republic, and part of the reason why it became the Roman Empire. Having slavery in a republic is poison, just like we see in the story of the American Republic. The main idea of a republic is the protection of the rights and freedoms of its citizens, but slavery is the opposite. It takes away all the rights from some people. You can't combine both of them into the same culture without problems, which is why America had to have a civil war to end slavery. Rome eventually had some as well, which we'll talk about in the next lesson. But first, we have to continue with the Punic Wars. After the First Punic War, Carthage expanded into Spain, and one of its great generals, named Hannibal, decided to invade Italy and attack Rome itself. Hannibal became the first famous general to march an army over the Alps into Italy. Do you recognize this other famous general who did the same? We'll have a bonus History Through Art lesson about this painting as part of the series. In the painting, you can barely make out the name Hannibal in the bottom corner, because this modern general was copying Hannibal, and another one. When Hannibal marched into Italy, the Romans could not stop him, and they were in a panic. But Rome's greatest general had a plan. The best defense is a good offense. This general, called Scipio, took a Roman army to Carthage and attacked the city. So Hannibal was forced to go back to Carthage and fight him. When Scipio defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Zama near Carthage, the Second Punic War ended. But Rome wasn't done. Many Romans believed that Carthage should be completely destroyed. That's what a famous Roman leader called Cato said when he ended every speech. Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. Eventually, the Romans agreed, and in the Third and final Punic War they did that. They attacked and destroyed Carthage, and salted the fields, making it so that crops would not grow there. Carthage was indeed destroyed once and for all. And many Carthaginians were enslaved. Rome had begun its career as an empire, and things started to go very badly inside of Rome. As we will see next, a certain famous Roman general, whose name you will recognize, looked at what Rome had become and proposed to make Rome great again. In our next lesson, we'll talk about him. His name was Julius Caesar. Don't forget to go to the Knowable World website for the full printables package and this entire series available on demand. The printables are packed with quizzes and activities, including a timeline that will help you learn the story. On our website, you'll also find our Anchor Facts series on America, ancient Greece, and soon, the history of China. See you again soon.